Hey everyone, Robbie here, founder of Umoja. I know it has been quite some time since we last spoke as we've been focused on getting out YBTC. Since then, we are over $1 million in AUM or TVL for DGens. And now we're, kind of refocusing back onto the token. As you all, may have seen in, former updates, previous updates, we haven't really been focused too much on the token, namely because the token derives, much of its value, much of its utility from being a performance rebate token. So what does that mean? That means that when the Umoja protocol generates yield from yield vault tokens like YBTC, for example, part of that, right, part of that revenue goes to the protocol itself. And some of that revenue is redistributed to Umoja stakers. So if you don't have a YBTC or if you don't have good TVL, then you're going to have a very weak value proposition for why people should adopt the Umoja token in the first place before you get to other things like governance, etc. And so that's the main reason why we were so hyper focused, right, in Q3, Q4 on launching YBTC, because YBTC increases ideally TVL, and increased TVL means that you can earn more Bitcoin or other tokens when we launch other yield vault tokens by staking Umoja. However, during that time, obviously you saw a pretty precipitous downfall in price, right? From the private sale price around 2 cents to I believe what is right now 0.003 cents. And, this obviously created a lot of consternation to those of you who may not necessarily be protocol users, but were certainly early supporters on the retail side. And so as we focus on, our relaunch Umoja strategy, right? Not necessarily introducing a new token, but how can we, naturally increase demand now that we have some of the other important factors that give value to the token itself, be it that you can stake it for something better. We are focusing to, resolve, some of those issues with our early supporters, ideally make everyone whole as much as we can. And focus on what should be a bright future. So the first part of that is burn and release. I know that this isn't necessarily the best interface to be looking at. This is a blog that we will be launching, this week, the week of February 10th. But I did want to get into what is burn and release, and where does it fit within our liquidity roadmap that we released in December as it relates to getting to a centralized exchange listing. So, and I'll kind of fast forward to down here. Just what is burn and release? So, as you all know, there are many early supporters of many different, utility token-based projects that are on vesting schedules, right? Vesting schedule means you give a certain amount of money to support the project, and then over time, your tokens are released to you. Now, what's happened within our vesting schedule is that the market wasn't as strong as we necessarily hoped, pretty much all of last year. And that plus not having, YBTC out so that people could stake Umoja for Bitcoin, created a lot of sell pressure, right? That, and of course doing, a DEX first listing, right? To save money on the very expensive listing fees that centralized exchanges will try to take from you. And so, getting to the point, you want to minimize future sell pressure if you are trying to bottom out your price so that you can, hopefully increase demand and thus, price goes up over time, right? And if you have future sell pressure, right, every day, for the next 12 months, more and more sell pressure is being added to people who are already disillusioned from earlier performance, and that's not going to be helpful. So the best thing that you can do in that situation is that you need to bottom out price, accelerate vesting schedules, and remove future sell pressure so that you then can focus on, doing a campaign and educating people as to, hey, you can stake this for Bitcoin, this is how you do it, et cetera, right? So it creates a new foundation for price. And again, this is just the first part of a multi-part strategy that we're implementing, not only to take care of our community, but also to introduce new entrants at a much lower price, given where we are in the secondary market now. And so burn and release does exactly that. It allows people who have vesting Umoja tokens to burn those vesting tokens, for example, the Umoja seed token. And by burning it, two things happen. The first is that when you burn your vesting tokens, those Umoja tokens in that vesting contract are permanently locked there, right? So effectively, we're lowering the overall supply of Umoja by about 7 to 8% if everyone was to participate, right? Just from the Umoja seed portion of the vesting tokens. There's of course other types of vesting tokens, but we're just using this as an example. So that's the first thing is that when you burn your vesting token, you're locking up permanently Umoja tokens in the vesting contract, thus lowering the total supply, right? Which ideally increases the value of all other tokens. Now, the second thing is that you get an Umoja token for every vesting token that you burn. So effectively, you're accelerating your vesting schedule. You no longer have to wait a long period of time. You can get all of your tokens at once. Now, of course, what is likely to happen to some of those holders is that they're going to try to sell into the market. However, because DEX liquidity is very low, and that's somewhat done on purpose so that you can go into a centralized exchange environment without having too much sell pressure just within one place. That allows price to effectively bottom out, right? Everyone has all their tokens. There's very little, future sell pressure, and thus you can focus on organic demand at a lower price. And hopefully with increased TVL, that organic demand increases because now the ROI for staking your tokens, which are much, much, much lower price, is a lot higher, right? And so that's effectively what the burn, release, program will look like. The interface will look very similar to the YBTC burn interface, which I can quickly show you. So it will look similar to this. I'll share this tab. So very, very, very similar, where this will be the vesting token, say Umoja seed. This will be Umoja. You burn, say 1,000 Umoja seed tokens, you get 1,000 Umoja tokens. Okay, so that's effectively how it looked like. Now, one important thing is where are these tokens coming from? These tokens are coming from the mint rewards allocation. So the largest allocation in our token distribution is rewarding people who mint smart coins, rewarding people who mint things like YBTC. By lowering that, we also lower circulating inflation, right? But you still earn rewards for minting YBTC outside of the yield that you earn. So those are kind of net positives in terms of lowering the overall token supply, but then also, obviously lowering circulating inflation by lowering the amount of rewards you get when you mint, any type of smart coin like a YBTC. So to go over like a quick example of what this would look like, and again, we will likely open this up to other vesting tokens. We're just using Umoja Seed initially because those are some of our core supporters, but we'll open this up to other people, as time goes on. So Alice has 50,000 Umoja Seed tokens vesting monthly until October 2025. She opts to burn and release all 50,000, meaning that she's burning all of her Umoja Seed tokens, right? And thus, those 50,000 tokens that, Umoja tokens that she would have got from the vesting contract, those are locked. Those are permanently locked, right? Because no one has the tokens to redeem them. And so those are burned from the total supply. And then by doing so, she gets 50,000 Umoja from our 1.1 billion token pool. And then she continues on her way, right? So that's effectively how it would work. If you have any questions, comments, concerns on this, please let us know. Again, we're very kind of, focus on what's important team. And the first thing is always going to be, is the protocol providing value? Is it generating revenue? And then it's the token, right, for us, because that's going to be the more sustainable route. We have another plan beyond this to, help lower the entry price of early supporters as well. So be on the lookout for that. That will come out next week. And of course, would love to get your feedback on that. Otherwise, feel free to continue minting YBTC, earning yield, continue staking the Umoja token because there's a lot to come. And we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Peace.